365 Sports, our old friend Ricky Thompson. It's been a minute since we've had Rick on the show, Baylor Sideline Reporter. And Rick, this has been on the field for Baylor, and we'll talk about some of the far-reaching consequences of the off-the-field stuff that is going on right now, towards the end. But on the field, where you're right there on field level every single game, this has been a team that has an immense amount of talent, especially on offense. They just don't really have a defensive identity, which is so odd given that Dave Aranda is a defensive coach and, lauded at times as a defensive genius for his past at Wisconsin and LSU. But there's fan apathy. There's just, this team cannot really, they can't get to the speed limit, right? They seem like the car is stuck in gear. What have you seen from your perspective that kind of keeps them stuck in gear?
Well, I thought during the early part of the season, particularly the first 8 games, that we really struggle up front defensively. I just think that you've seen virtually no pass rush, no penetration by that front, have not been good against the run, and really even less than good, I thought, rushing the passer. And just with that, I know we've had folks talk about our linebackers. They're not making plays. They're not doing this. Well, hard for those guys to make plays when you've got offensive linemen 4 and 5 yards downfield beating on your linebackers because they're not being taken care of up front. Now, that being said, you play UCF, who was rushing for 225 yards a game, and we hold them to 70-something yards, put pressure on the passer all day long, make him throw. I know they had done some research on him, and he was 70% completion rate with no pressure, and with pressure, under 50. So, how they did it, what scheme they changed, I know Dave said they simplified some things, but I do know they got after the quarterback and they stopped the run, held UCF to 75 yards after 225. So that shows me they've got them in them. They beat UCF 30-3. And I don't know about you, but if I was taking over and under, I would have lost a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking there's no way you're going to hold UCF less than 21, 28 points minimum.
Well, and that's potentially good news as you have Utah coming in this week. I think that there's a real case to be made that Baylor might have, if you went 1-85 just on the scholarship players, that Baylor might be a little bit ahead on some of the talent than Utah is. Now, Utah has an unbelievably good offensive line, especially those tackles, and a running quarterback who is starting to come into his own. And this is just a bad matchup for them. But if you're an optimist, Ricky, they did show something like you just said against UCF.
Well, they did. And you've said exactly the point, and that's what we need to watch in this football game. These offensive tackles may be number 1 draft picks, and they are really good. The quarterback is average throwing the ball, but that's not what has given us difficulty. What's given us difficulty is one that'll take off with football, and that's absolutely killed us. So great offensive tackles against our defensive line and a running quarterback. You would think that spells trouble. I think Utah defensively probably as sound as anybody will play all year. Defensively, I think they're really good. I think Tech caught them down a bit, and before they really started playing well, and beat them pretty soundly in Salt Lake. But I'm not so sure this may be the best team we played so far this year. But if we play like we did against UCF, I think you've got a shot. I really do. And going back to UCF, I think there's good times and bad times to have an open date. It's always good for injuries, but after playing a game like that, man, I was ready to play the next Saturday. I did not like the timing of that open date.
No, especially I agree with you, especially for a defense that has been, desperately they're shoving virgins into volcanoes, Rick, right? To try to get anything to spark them, and then they finally get a spark, and then you have that bye week. Maybe it works out differently where they can have those extra days of practice and all that. with the confidence, like, okay, well, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Have you seen one of the things I think that I've always been surprised about through kind of the streakiness of the Aranda era is he never really has lost the locker room, which is probably his greatest strength in that. But it does get tiresome, Ricky. I know that throughout your career, you were on some really great teams. You were on some teams that didn't reach their potential, and the teams that don't, like, it just wears on you as you get into that 7th, 8th, and 9th game. How do you see the team responding to the roller coaster nature of this season?
Well, surprisingly, really well. And I think, to your point, that's one of Dave's strengths. I think this team likes each other. They play hard for each other. I think there's some games where I maybe thought they didn't play hard enough, but I don't think that's a reflection on losing the locker room, because these guys are all in, and it's tough. I mean, of course, we're talking like they're 2-8 and they're 5-4. So, it's not like it's a horrible record, but I think when you expect it at this point to be 7-2 at least, and you're 5-4, that's a different story. And it would be very easy with a couple of these games, like a Cincinnati game, where you just didn't play well on the road and really got it handed to you. And of course, then you come back and beat UCF. But I just think that he has really done a good job, and I'll credit not just Dave, but the entire staff, of holding this team together. And I expect they're going to be ready to play Saturday. I think they'll come out and be ready. And I'm not going to be surprised if they don't play really well against this Utah team. And I think that would be a spark. And that's a compliment to this staff, because they've had struggles, and it started right off the bat, guys, with Auburn. That was a game that was so hyped, and it was hyped through the entire summer, entire off season, the home helmets, the whole deal, and then just really didn't play well. And I think that started this thing on the wrong side of the ledger right off the bat. But last year, remember, 6-game winning streak after going 2-4, I thought they were dead in the water. So you just never know, and that's a compliment to this staff.
So one of the things that can define a season, and obviously with the news yesterday of Mac taking a leave of absence, and the reality of it being that you're going to have a new athletic director, 99% at this point. Like there's not much of a pathway back to that. There's going to be a lot of changes that can derail a team sometimes, especially when the coaches, like the players don't have to worry about it quite as much with the coaches. This is a big deal for every sport, that the athletic director is now on a leave of absence and likely gone. But for a team, though, sometimes you can galvanize yourself in these times of crisis. But, Ricky, this is a tough thing across the athletic department. How do you think the team has to handle it? And is this maybe a thing that can help them focus in a strange way on, let's just go play Utah, who historically they've always played pretty well?
Yeah, I tell you, I think in that regard, I like Dave's comments and his press conference. I don't know if you heard those specifically, but his comment was about Mac, and Mac's a friend. We all just feel for Mac terribly, but Dave said, that's above my pay grade. We're just getting ready to play a game on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I think that's exactly what he needed to say. I think that was appropriate, and I don't know that was particularly thought through by him, but that's just a typical Dave Aranda answer, and I think it was a very honest answer from him. And I doubt that this has affected their preparation this week, and I would think these players will play just like they always do, related to a football game. Not to say they play good or they play bad. I'm not sure how much effect that will particularly have on this game. Matt, we're not talking about the future of athletics. It's going to have an effect there, of course, and we don't know what that's going to be at this point.
Ricky, you've been around this program for most of your life at this point, and there's a feeling I know among the fan base where it's kind of always something. What would you say to the fans who do, like, it's just all, like, have that feeling of, man, it was going well, but it's kind of always something. What would you say to them to maybe help them work through, like, all the different feelings of fan disappointment they're having, especially given the fact that before we even knew about all these things going on, the fan apathy with football was starting to rise.
Right. Well, two things. I mean, they're right. It's always something. Number two, it's always something at every university in the country. There are different levels of that, but it's always something. When you've got this many kids involved in athletics, this many sports, different administrations, different boards of regents, it's always something. And, you know, the thing I can say to that on my behalf, I hate it. It just seems like you get things going and then something happens, and you get things going and something happens. And because we're Baylor folks, it seems like it happens more to us than it happens to some others. You know what? Every time something has gone on or something has happened or there's been a setback, you turn around and something really good happens. I know athletics were struggling and we win a women's national championship in basketball. We were struggling in 21 when we won the Big 12 championship in football. Nobody expected that. I know I didn't. So I would just say, hang in there. These kids deserve it. In spite of all the issues, these are 18, 19 to 22-year-old kids, maybe 23 with a red shirt, and they deserve everybody's support. And I don't think the outside issues should be used as excuses not to go to games, not to support these kids, because there will be good seasons to come. Yeah. It's inevitable. We're going to win another championship. We're going to have a 10-win season. And what's going to happen then? All these people that are talking about all the negatives now are going to be at the games like nothing ever happened. Yeah. So I would just say, hang in there for these kids' sake, if nothing else, and support them, stand play, and just wait for something good to happen, because it's going to. And I'm not saying maybe some things don't need to change, but I'm just saying that if that's the case, it will, and there will be good years out there to come. And you're right. I've been around this program since I was 17 years old, and I'm not going to change.
So 25 years ago, 17 years old for you. Rick.
Well, 30. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it is like, and I feel that, like, I understand, like, and especially since our show's kind of expanded and you hear all the, just know that you're not like, it's not only happening to you. Like, everybody who's not winning at a ridiculous clip, you know, is going through some version of these same things, although every story is unique. Like, that's part of fandom. The reason you enjoy the win so much is because the losses hurt. It means you care, but you have to care. Like, not caring is not helping anybody, I don't think. I think you know, channel your care into the most positive way.
Yeah, be upset. I hate to lose. Man, my wife will tell you I'm a horrible loser, and it's even at board games. I am not a good loser, and I'm kind of proud of that fact. I'm a sore loser. But you know what? That makes winning even better. And just think about something you said that just made me think, how many coaches have already been fired this year?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're the only school that's got to struggle with some sport. I mean, there's coaches gone all over the country with the season, 3/4 over, and they're already gone.
Yeah. The first team that beat Baylor.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know, 2 weeks ago fired their head coach. So yeah, it's like everybody, like, you could have one heck of a support group meeting with all these different fan bases going through it right now. You'd learn a lot that you're not alone. Rick, always great to talk to you. Enjoy the game on Saturday, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
That's Ricky Thompson, Baylor Sideline Reporter, here with us on 365 Sports.